Dubois.
And I'm Beth Jones. A man was shot and killed by a Waldo County sergeant at a Belfast apartment this afternoon.
According to the Waldo County Sheriff's Office and Belfast Police Department, the call came in just before 1:30 p.m. from 65-year-old Daniel Ryan. Authorities say Ryan threatened to burn his apartment down if law enforcement did not respond. When law enforcement arrived at the apartment at 63 Cedar Street, Ryan allegedly continued threatening to burn the apartment down. Authorities say Ryan charged officers with a gas can that was on fire when they entered the apartment. He was shot and killed by Sergeant Nicholas Ottinger. An eyewitness close to the scene spoke with us about what they observed when law enforcement arrived.
I saw a state cop come with a rifle, and all of a sudden one of the cops goes into the building, comes running out, grabs a pickaxe and an axe and a sledgehammer from the firefighters, goes in, and firefighters stand at the door, and I hear bang, bang, bang. Sounded like 3 shots to me, not sure if it was, and that was that.
Sergeant Ottinger will be placed on administrative leave while the Office of the Attorney General investigates the incident.
A woman indicted for a Bangor shooting death was in court today. 20-year-old Olivia Babin was arraigned on a charge of manslaughter for allegedly shooting and killing 24-year-old Daniel Ford Coates in April. Bangor police were called to Highland Avenue for a report of a man shot in the head. Witnesses told police Babin allegedly held a gun to Ford Coates' head and said, quote, "Oh, you don't think I will," before pulling the trigger. The witnesses also told police they allegedly saw Babin throw a gun into the Kenduskeag stream. Babin pleaded not guilty and is being held on $100,000 cash bail.
A man sentenced to life in prison for the 2018 deaths of 2 people in Bangor is challenging his murder conviction. That man filed his petition based on multiple arguments, including ineffective assistance of counsel and his sentence being unconstitutionally disproportionate. The state argued John de St. Croix's petition be denied on the grounds it was filed past the 1-year statutory deadline. St. Croix told the court that having COVID and needing help drafting the petition contributed to the late submission. The petition and the state's motion to dismiss will be taken under advisement by the court. The decision will be made at a later date.
Well, tomorrow is primary day here in Maine. School budgets and primary races that will shape the general election in November. The mass shooting in Lewiston led to new state gun laws and proposals for federal gun laws. Brad Rogers has more.
Not in favor.
Leroy Walker is an Auburn City councilor who lost his son Joe in the shooting at Schmenge's in October. He supports many of the state gun laws that will soon take effect.
They've made it so the yellow law is going to be a little stronger, and I think they're going to pay more attention to it now than they ever did.
But he does not support Congressman Jared Golden's push for a ban on assault rifles.
Someone that wants to kill somebody is going to get a hold of a rifle, so I think that's a waste of our time.
I'm very upset at Jared Golden. I sold him a firearm.
Gun shop owner John Reed is also opposed to a ban on assault rifles from law-abiding citizens. He also believes Maine's new gun laws are unnecessary. He says if existing laws were enforced, it would prevent mass shootings.
I understand where things are coming from with the horrendous events that took place here in late October. I understand this. But I do not feel that these laws are going to have any value at all.
Ben Dyer, who was shot 5 times at Schmenge's and survived, told us he's opposed to any of these new gun laws, including expanded background checks and the 72-hour waiting period to buy a gun in Maine. He hunts and owns several guns. Gun shop owners also oppose those new state laws.
I feel very strongly that it was the Democrats' way of getting at gun shows. I really do.
Leroy Walker, though, supports the new waiting period and background checks.
I know they've got that tough law there. If you sell to someone that you know you shouldn't, you could be in some serious trouble.
Leroy Walker also supported a measure by Governor Mills that did not pass, one that would have limited the number of bullets in a clip that an assault rifle can fire. He says 5 shots are enough for hunting and says in a busy place with a lot of people, it would give those people a better chance to take the gunman out.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting. Meanwhile, leaders on immigration in Portland called the president's executive order on the border inhumane. The Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center spoke against the order. The move would allow immigration officials to quickly deport migrants who enter the U.S. without an asylum appointment when the weekly average of illegal daily entries exceeds 2,500. This afternoon, members of the Greater Portland Immigrant Welcome Center said the executive order will put the lives of thousands of migrants at risk.
For the migrants to be prosecuted and sent back to their own country would only bring death to them. And their blood will be on our hands.
I think these people, again, are hardworking citizens, and unfortunately the political rhetoric has demonized and dehumanized them. Vast majority of the crimes and the drugs coming are not from the southern border, they're coming from the ports.
The president said he made the executive order to move past, quote, Republican obstruction. A CBS poll just out finds 62% of Americans want all illegal immigrants deported.
The father of a Central Maine teen who took his own life last week is speaking up and sharing his son's story, as well as a message to other teens who might be experiencing similar feelings. Our Augusta reporter Corey Bouchard has that story.
Last Wednesday, my 16-year-old son, Elliot, ended his own life.
Rodney Hill is the father of Elliot Hill, an Auburn teenager who took his own life on June 5th. Rodney describes his son as very passionate and involved with sports, music, cars, and community. But, he says, adults don't realize how much pressure young people face.
The pressure that young people feel in their lives is multifaceted. It comes from their coaches, their teachers, their families, their peers. It comes from all directions.
Hill says adding to his hurt and confusion is the fact that he didn't see any red flags from his son that something was seriously wrong.
He showed signs of, processing pressure and working on it and handling it as every teenager does. And there was never a sign that there was this dark place that he could go to and, write a long note about why he was about to do this and then carry it out.
Hill has this message he wants to share to other teenagers or anyone who might be feeling the same way Elliot did.
Just so important for me to, as part of my healing process, to spread the word that telling you, I hope whoever you are out there and you can hear me, that somebody really doesn't want this to happen to you, and I definitely don't want this to happen to you.
Hill says if you do need help, reach out to someone that you love or even a complete stranger who cares by texting or calling the crisis line at 988. In Augusta, I'm Corey Bouchard for ABC7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news, proposed rules for Maine's new paid family and medical leave law faced fierce backlash by Maine's business community today. The Maine Department of Labor heard public comment about the drafted rules. Business leaders say those rules force employees in Maine to fund the program when their employer has decided to provide a private coverage option instead.
This is the worst case scenario, where now businesses who did not think that they would be contributing to this tax are scrambling to assess the implications of a contribution on their employees and employers alike. These are the businesses that have been doing the right thing to provide this benefit and should be held harmless with the development of this program.
If you'd like to submit a comment on the proposed rule, you can visit the Maine Department of Labor's website. Comments will be accepted until July 8th.
Switching gears now, a travel advisory for those who commute through Bangor. A portion of Broadway will be periodically closed starting tomorrow, June 11th, through Friday, June 14th. The road closure will accommodate the installation of a temporary bridge on Interstate 95. According to the city, vehicles traveling north on Broadway will be detoured up Stillwater Avenue, where they can use the exit 186 on-ramp onto I-95 South to get back on Broadway. Vehicles traveling south will be directed onto I-95 South and then to exit 184, which brings them to Union Street. And from there, travelers will move through downtown via Hammond Street, onto State Street, and then back onto Broadway.
Mainers will head to the polls tomorrow to cast their votes in the state primaries. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows, Maine's top election official, says state primaries usually have a lower turnout than general elections, but they're still important.
June 11th, it's a statewide primary. All of the races for the legislature will be on the ballot. We have competitive races. We see a competitive primary in Congressional District 2. We also have races on the ballot for county races. And in my town, for example, I had the opportunity to vote on the school budget and for my municipal elected officials, including members of the select board and members of the school board.
Secretary Bellows adds that unenrolled voters can choose which primary they'd like to vote in, but if you are a member of a third party like the Green Party, Libertarian Party, or No Labels Party, you will not be able to vote in a primary.
All right, well, we had a picture-perfect day today outside, and hoping for the same tomorrow since people have to get out and vote, but we'll see.
It was until it wasn't this afternoon, and all of a sudden we got kind of slammed by
clobbered a little bit,
that rain. I think we were caught a little off guard by it, but besides that, like you said, very, very nice day.
It was interesting that it's always interesting when the sun comes out and the rain is still coming down, so then it sort of becomes a sun shower, which is kind of neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, ripe for rainbows. So, you know.
We love that.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get a first check of our forecast and see what the overnight is looking like.
All right, tonight's first weather is brought to you by Acres Away Real Estate, located at 309 West Broadway in Lincoln. Call Alan, Bobby Lynn, or Kara to help guide you through the buying or selling process. 794-2700. All right, let's take a look at that weather system we got in our area right now. Looks like we're at the back end, as we do still have some showers and embedded thunderstorms moving through the area, bringing some locally heavy rainfall amounts to some areas, and some areas are also not seeing any rainfall at all. So nothing too severe out there for us. Right now, we do have temperatures in the mid-50s for the Bangor area, a little bit warmer by Deer Isle. Other than that, much of the region is seeing low to mid-50s. For the overnight planner tonight, looks like we do have some mid-50s throughout tonight with cloudy skies, and that sun will come out around 5 to 6 a.m.
All right, so a nice calm overnight.
We'll take it.
All right. Well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, concerns have been raised by the Office of the Public Advocate regarding excessive spending by CMP.
And with June representing PTSD Awareness Month, local experts are highlighting resources available to those in need of help. Those stories and more when we come back.
Adding comfort and beauty to your home for less is as easy as 1, 2, 3. During Renewal by Anderson's Easy 3Z Replacement Window Event, the time to act is now, because Renewal by Anderson is making it easy and affordable, with huge discounts on our exclusive custom replacement windows and our doors, along with special financing options so affordable you won't want to miss out on this event. And to top it all off, professional installation by our certified master installers is always included. Like we said, Easy 3Z. Call today.
Hood is the cottage cheese lovers love. Start with our award-winning country style. It's delicious on its own, or like this. That. Even, sure. Plus, it's got more protein than hummus and less sugar than yogurt. Then there's Hood's flavors. We expertly blend in real fruit or savory herbs for an unbeatable taste combination you can't recreate at home. Now that's cottage cheese. Hood cottage cheese. Always good, always Hood.
It was one thing when my mom got Alzheimer's, but then we started noticing things that seemed off. She developed agitation that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Sometimes she'd fidget with her fingers, get suddenly overwhelmed, and even throw things. And that was just never her. So we asked her doctor what else we could do.
Rexulti is the only FDA-approved medication proven to reduce agitation symptoms that may happen with dementia due to Alzheimer's disease. Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death, weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur.
Rexulti helped reduce my mom's symptoms.
Take action for your loved one. Ask their doctor about Rexulti.
It is season 7.
It's the musical game with the bestest prize. Beat Shazam, all new Tuesdays on Fox.
Hello, I'm Emma Smith, and coming up on Good Morning Maine, the latest from court regarding a woman charged with manslaughter for allegedly shooting her boyfriend in the head. Plus updates from Augusta regarding how the new paid family leave law will begin to be enforced. And we'll check out a new cold-pressed juice business in Northport. These stories and more coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Welcome back. Maine's public advocate has successfully reduced what Central Maine Power charges ratepayers for 2022 storm costs. Shareholders, not customers, will now pay $850,000 in storm repairs. A statement says CMP agreed to a settlement to address concerns raised by the Office of the Public Advocate regarding excessive spending by CMP in restoring electric service in 2022 after some major storms. The settlement will be considered by the Public Utilities Commission on June 11th. Maine Public Advocate William Harwood says, quote, "If approved, this represents an important acknowledgement that some of the costs were both excessive and poorly documented. It's OPA's belief that CMP should shift a substantial amount of its spending from restoration to prevention. Currently, CMP is spending too much cleaning up after a storm and too little before the storm, protecting its system from damage," end quote.
June is Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month, and local experts want people to know that resources are available for those seeking help and support. Our Grace Blanchard has the story.
PTSD is known to impact millions.
Post-traumatic stress disorder is a grouping of symptoms, right, that typically follows a traumatic event.
According to experts at Northern Light Acadia Hospital, symptoms tend to follow 5 major categories, including avoidance, hypervigilance, intrusive thinking, nightmares, or flashbacks of the traumatic event. Health experts recommend getting a professional diagnosis if you start to show any of these signs.
If somebody is more predisposed to sensitivity within the body, they're probably going to be more likely to come out of a traumatic event experiencing symptoms of PTSD.
Studies from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs shows that about 6% of the U.S. population will experience PTSD at some point in their lives.
I've been battling PTSD for over 15 years. I believe I'm starting to get a handle on it, but I still struggle to this day.
Doc Goodwin with the Maine Veterans Project says PTSD is very common amongst the veteran community.
Traumas that we experienced in the military were experienced with our brothers and sisters, camaraderie. That's completely missing on the outside. And then I think the other part is, I mean, the military just, it offers up a pretty good platter of traumatic experiences to choose from.
Goodwin says the first step is allowing yourself to ask for help.
PTSD will probably never go away, but our ability to cope with it can increase every single day, especially in a team-centric environment.
For more information on ways to help manage PTSD, visit our website, foxbangor.com. In Bangor, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Always great to highlight the local resources that are available to people, and you know, just always remind people that it's okay to seek help and know that they're not alone. There are people out there who care about them.
And you know, every time you talk about it, every time we cover it, you hopefully chip away at the stigma and just let people know, you know, hey, you know, they're talking about this. This is out there. It affects other people besides me. I'm not alone. Like, you hope that, you know, that difference is being made little by little.
It's so important.
It is.
All right, coming up on the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22, 2 members of Israel's war cabinet accused the Israeli prime minister of putting his own political survival over the country's security needs.
And Hunter Biden's felony gun trial now in the jury's hands. The defense closed without Hunter Biden taking the stand. We'll have those stories and more as the 10 p.m. news on Fox 22 continues.
Someone needs to customize and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. Wait, there's an elevator? Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Our biggest challenge? Uncertainty. Hidden fees, surcharges, who knows what to expect.
Turn shipping to your advantage.
Keep it simple with clear upfront pricing.
With USPS Ground Advantage.
Let's face it, getting training and experience is hard, but at Loring Job Corps, we can help. From certifications in automotive technology, obtaining your CDL, or learning building trades, we have you covered. Maybe you prefer joining the high-tech world of computer networking or cybersecurity. We have that as well. Don't delay, get in the driver's seat to your future today. And the best part, Loring Job Corps is free. Receive free training, free meals, and even free housing. Call or go to jobcorps.gov/Loring. Job Corps careers begin here.
Every time you shop at Hannaford, you help us promote inclusivity, opportunity, and a sense of belonging in every store. You help us build a culture where leaders reflect our diverse communities, where veterans forge new career paths, and where our employees and neighbors alike can find their voice. Together, we're not just feeding families, we're strengthening communities. Hannaford Supermarkets, greater than groceries.
A new deck is a great, affordable way to improve your home or camp. Hammond Lumber Company can help you create the perfect deck for your outdoor space. Visit Hammond's product showroom and explore their extensive range of decking and railing options. Your Hammond sales rep will be happy to help you with your materials and design choices, and Hammond delivers from any of their 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Make this the year you enjoy that new deck you've always wanted. It starts when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company.
Angler's Restaurant with 2 locations in Newport and Searsport. Open daily from 11 to 8. We are your home for fresh seafood. Our specialty is scallops, lobster, fish and chips, and of course, lobster rolls. Now, if seafood is not your preference, we offer fan favorites like cheeseburgers and chicken tenders. Stop by for the atmosphere and stay for the incredible dining experience. Anglers, Maine's family seafood restaurant.
If you've been injured, call Joe, the law offices of Joe Bornstein.
The United Nations Security Council approved a plan to end the fighting in Gaza, and both Israel and Hamas seem open to it, reportedly. This follows months of negotiations since the start of the war. Fox's Connor Hansen has more.
Dramatic video released by Israel shows its soldiers storming a building and rescuing 3 hostages over the weekend. A 4th was rescued nearby. All had been kidnapped from the music festival on October 7th. More than 270 Palestinians and 1 Israeli soldier were killed during the operation. Pressure on both sides to end the war has continued to build.
14 votes in favor, 0 votes against, 1 abstention.
After several tries, the UN Security Council approved a ceasefire proposal. The 3-phase plan would start with the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners, the withdrawal of Israeli troops from populated parts of Gaza, and the distribution of aid. The final phase is a multi-year reconstruction plan for Gaza.
Hamas can now see that the international community is united.
Hamas released a statement saying it welcomes the deal. Part of it read, quote, Hamas emphasizes its readiness to cooperate with the mediators. The UN resolution says Israel has accepted the proposal.
If Hamas were to release the hostages and turn themselves in, not one more shot needs to be fired.
President Biden said on X, quote, Hamas says it wants a ceasefire. This deal is an opportunity to prove they mean it. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on a trip to the Middle East where he met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to push for a ceasefire deal. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken was in Israel today for a meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Some key members of Netanyahu's government, however, have had enough. Fox's Trey Yingst is in Tel Aviv.
A political shakeup rocking Israel overnight. 2 war cabinet members, Benny Gantz and Gadi Eisenkot, left Benjamin Netanyahu's emergency government, accusing the Israeli prime minister of putting his own political survival over the country's security needs.
Regrettably, Netanyahu is preventing us from advancing toward true victory, which is the justification for the ongoing and painful cost of war.
The decision is not expected to collapse the current Israeli coalition, but will put new pressure on Netanyahu by making him more reliant on far-right ministers in his government. These ministers are opposed to a U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal that would end the current war in Gaza and bring some of the remaining hostages home. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken arrived in Israel today to discuss negotiations surrounding such an agreement. He says Israel is on board, but Hamas is not.
If you want a ceasefire, press Hamas to say yes.
After a daring Israeli operation over the weekend that rescued 4 hostages from central Gaza, Hamas released a statement in opposition to a deal that doesn't include a permanent ceasefire. New details are emerging about that raid. The Israeli military says the hostages were held in 2 civilian apartment buildings. According to a spokesman for the local hospital in Gaza, more than 300 were killed or wounded during the operation.
In a joint rescue operation with the Shin Bet, the Army, and a police commando team that was conducted under fire in the heart of Gaza, we were able to get 4 hostages back to their homes.
With no diplomatic solution emerging, Israel is expected to continue operating inside the Gaza Strip to search for the remaining 120 hostages. In Tel Aviv, Trey Yingst, Fox News.
Meanwhile, the Hunter Biden felony gun trial has gone to the jury. Deliberations started after the defense closed without calling the president's son to the stand. Fox's David Spunt is in Wilmington, Delaware with the latest.
Hunter Biden's attorney Abby Lowell offered no reason for his client deciding not to testify in his own defense to charges of lying about his drug addiction when purchasing this Colt Cobra .38 caliber revolver. Such a move would have been strategically risky, opening the president's son to likely intense cross-examination. In closing arguments, the government prosecutor pointed to more than a dozen members of the Biden family in the audience, saying they don't matter, only the evidence does, which he called, quote, ugly and overwhelming. Another prosecutor added no one is above the law, including the president's son. Choices have consequences, and that is why we're here. Prosecutors reminded jurors of texts shortly after the gun purchase, including this one, 2 days later, where Hunter texted his sister-in-law, Hallie Biden, "I was sleeping on a car, smoking crack on 4th Street and Rodney." But the defense countered he was lying about his whereabouts. And after his August 2018 stay in drug rehab, Hunter Biden truly believed he was no longer addicted when buying the gun 2 months later and did not knowingly lie. Defense attorney Abby Lowell telling jurors Hunter may have been using alcohol, not drugs. Lowell told jurors kicking crack cocaine is hard, kicking alcohol is harder. As she did today, First Lady Jill Biden has attended nearly every day of court, shuttling back and forth between France, where the president was on a state visit. Taxpayers reportedly were footing the bill for the transatlantic travel, but there are now reports the Democratic National Committee will pay for some of the costs. The First Lady, Hunter, his wife, and others were seen just outside the courtroom doors this morning, huddled together in a group hug with bowed heads in apparent prayer. Jury deliberations will resume Tuesday morning. In Wilmington, Delaware, David Spunt, Fox News.
Sextortion cases are on the rise in North Carolina and elsewhere. Fox's Chelsea Donovan reports.
It's called sextortion. It's not a new crime, but one that's scamming more and more teenagers.
They come across, whether it be a gaming platform or another conversation on social media, and they seem to be just another kid.
It seems harmless, and teens bite without knowing the danger.
Oftentimes, especially with boys, it's an extremely attractive female.
It can happen quickly and innocently before it turns dangerous. According to Gavin Portnoy with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children.
They say, hey, unless you give me X number of dollars via a credit card or a gift card, I am going to distribute your photos all over the internet to all of your friends.
According to the FBI here in our state, they reported a 600% increase in sextortion cases between 2021 and 2022. And the numbers are also startling coming into the tip line at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. In 2022, they had 80,000 reports of sextortion. Last year, though, that more than doubled to 180,000. Those numbers are enough to share a warning tonight to parents and those who are on their devices.
The biggest thing we're telling parents to do is have conversations with their children about what they're doing on these devices. Make sure you know who you're talking to on the other end of that conversation.
Just some concerning numbers there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, well, still to come on Fox 22 News at 10, the FDA announcing it will be creating a task force specifically to combat the sale of illicit e-cigarettes.
And in sports, we'll hear from Joe Mazzulla after the Celtics take a 2-0 series lead in the NBA Finals. We'll be right back.
The Quiz with Balls, all new Tuesdays at 9/8 Central on Fox.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
While politicians talked, President Trump fought for working people. He took on China and secured the border. I'm Austin Terrio, former NASCAR driver and small business owner. I'm proud to have President Trump's endorsement. Together we'll secure the border, stop Biden's electric vehicle mandate, and bring back American manufacturing. I'll fight to make sure our best days are ahead.
Endorsed by President Trump. Austin Terrio for Congress.
I'm Austin Terrio, and I approve this message.
Toyota has more hybrid all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive models than any other brand, like the RAV4 Hybrid with up to a 566-mile total driving range. See your New England Toyota dealer, your hybrid all-wheel drive headquarters. Toyota, let's go places.
I've been with U.S. Cellular for 27 years. They've always taken care of me. But when they asked me to talk to you about their special customer event, Us Days, I said, I gotta get in shape. So they sent me this Hollywood trainer. Oh, this guy's no joke. Us Days means exclusive deals just for us customers.
Now let's try burpees.
Us Days is back at U.S. Cellular. Current customers get $1,200 off any phone, plus $300 off any tablet.
Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream is open for business. Located 5 miles off exit 244 in Medway, you will find affordable prices on all of your favorites. We offer homemade pizza, mouth-watering cheeseburgers, lobster rolls, scallops, and a local favorite is our sweet sausage sub. We also have kid-friendly meals and offer fresh doughboys and ice cream year-round. Noah's Ark Food and Ice Cream. Stop by for a delicious bite to eat, and dessert too.
No matter how old you are, you can become America's next Master Chef. Gen Z. Which generation is going to win it all?
MasterChef Generations, all new Wednesdays on Fox, anytime on Hulu.
Whether it's time to buy or sell your home, Patty Thompson is a name that you can depend on. With over 25 years of experience, your family will be in good hands with Patty Thompson.
Welcome back. The Food and Drug Administration expands approval for pharmaceutical company GSK's vaccine for RSV. The department expanded approval for the GSK RSV vaccine to extend to adults down to 50 years old who are at higher risk of severe RSV or respiratory syncytial virus. The next step for the vaccine is to have the recommendation approved for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention's Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices before it can be administered to adults between the ages of 50 and 59. Further trials for the vaccine plan on looking at adults between 18 and 49 years old. GSK says results for that are expected in the second half of 2024.
And the FDA is also launching a new task force to combat the sale of illicit e-cigarettes. The task force will aim to take down the sale and distribution of illegal vaping products, especially those aimed at younger consumers. The effort comes after the FDA issued more than 1,100 warning letters to manufacturers, importers, distributors, and retailers for illegally distributing and selling unauthorized tobacco products. The FDA has only authorized the sale of 23 tobacco-flavored e-cigarette products to date.
Apple is diving into the artificial intelligence world with a system-wide update to software on its devices. The company says its AI features will be able to do things for you in apps. The new AI system can scan users' personal information to do things like gauge traffic patterns ahead of an atypical commute or proofread text in a dynamic way. But the announcement is raising some privacy concerns as well. Fox's Susan Lee has more.
All of this goes beyond artificial intelligence. It's personal intelligence, and it's the next big step for Apple.
That's Apple CEO Tim Cook explaining Apple Intelligence, the company's plan for incorporating artificial intelligence, or AI, into its devices.
And the introduction of powerful new Apple Intelligence features make these releases game changers. Built in a uniquely Apple way.
The AI plan was buried behind other announcements at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference Monday. It's an important move for Apple after it fell behind in Silicon Valley's AI arms race. Competitor Microsoft and chipmaker NVIDIA have at times overtaken Apple as the world's biggest company and second most valuable company.
Is Apple actually going to lead in AI instead of follow?
Historically, Apple tends to team up with other companies, infusing its sleek designs and marketing to overcome a slow start to trends.
The problem I have with Apple is that its core business with smartphones is too big to get excited about the underlying innovation with Apple. So as an investor, I'm curious to see, if Apple's ever going to break up into smaller companies and the innovation business can focus on that without the fat attached.
But Luke, no matter how Apple's new AI initiative is received, how AI stocks continue to perform, it's important to a lot of Americans.
What will happen this week with NVIDIA, with Apple, and with AI writ large will matter a lot to all of our 401ks.
Bringing more AI into the iPhone will likely raise privacy issues, but Apple continues to assure its customers that it can be trusted. In New York, Susan Lee, Fox Business.
Well, while food delivery services are certainly popular these days, helping people to get their meals in a pinch or when you just don't feel like going to get it yourself, but there are concerns rising over the behavior of some of those delivery drivers. Fox's Deborah Valentine takes a closer look.
The COVID-19 pandemic helped usher in a new age for food deliveries, with demand only rising in its wake. But with a growing number of consumers ordering from Uber Eats, DoorDash, and more, cities nationwide are also seeing an uptick in complaints about delivery driver behavior, especially from those on two-wheeled vehicles.
Whether that's riding on the sidewalk or riding in a bike lane or riding against the traffic or riding through a red light.
And authorities are cracking down. Boston officials have issued a letter to food delivery companies over a, quote, alarming increase in unlawful and dangerous operation of motorcycles, mopeds, and motorized scooters.
Asking them to answer a set of questions related to how they enforce drivers' safety training when it comes to two-wheeled vehicles.
Officials say a high number of these vehicles are also unregistered in New York City. Officials have seized roughly 13,000 scooters and mopeds so far this year.
We're not going to tolerate it.
In Washington, D.C., officials recently started the Operation Ride Right program to help monitor if drivers of two-wheeled vehicles are complying with the rules of the road. They've already made several arrests. Uber issuing a statement saying, in part, quote, safety is always a top priority, and couriers are often reminded of their responsibility for following local traffic laws. A similar statement from DoorDash reads, in part, quote, the overwhelming majority of Dashers do the right thing. Deborah Valentine, Fox News.
All right, and coming up, we have our full 5-day forecast. Curious to know what that's looking like.
Yes, me too. Stay tuned.
Looks like we have more rain and scattered thunderstorms in the forecast for this week. Will we have a repeat of last year with lots of rain in the month of June, or will we start to see some more sunshine? I'll have more of that coming right up.
It's time to bring the family and friends to Fort Knox. One of the best preserved and most accessible Civil War forts in the nation is right in our backyard, just off Route 1 across from Bucksport. Open every day, May through October, rain or shine. Check our website for details.
Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia, has the plug-in hybrid that takes you farther. Choose from an all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid Kia Sportage, Sorento, and plug-in hybrid Nero. You get all-electric power for shorter trips and gasoline hybrid flexibility for your longer drives. Go from Bangor to Providence in one trip. No stops needed. Whether it's your 20-minute commute to work or yearly road trip, Van Sickle Kia has the plug-in hybrid that gets you there at Van Sickle Kia. And best of all, every new Kia at Van Sickle comes with Kia's 10-year or 100,000-mile warranty. The best in the business.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
An official message from Medicare.
A new law is helping us save more money on prescription drugs. Maybe you can save too. With Medicare's Extra Help program, our drug premiums are zero, and our out-of-pocket costs are low.
I enrolled and I'm saving money. If you're single and make less than $23,000 a year, or are a married couple making less than $31,000, you may qualify and save, even if you don't think you qualify. It pays to find out.
Go to ssa.gov/extra help.
Why should your new floor come from Carpet One? Because we're passionate about the spaces our neighbors call home. We're part of your community, and we're also part of the world's largest cooperative of independently owned and operated flooring stores. So you can be sure you'll get great selection and outstanding value with every installation. Whether it's carpet, hardwood, tile, or luxury vinyl, our experts take the guesswork out of choosing the right floor. We're your local Carpet One Floor and Home, the one store for your perfect floor.
Did you know that the Penobscot Narrows Bridge Observatory is the tallest in the world, with the fastest elevator in New England and 360-degree views from 420 feet up? Open every day, May through October. Check our website for details.
Gordon Ramsay and Lisa Vanderpump are searching for the next great food star.
You ready?
Born ready. Food Stars, all new Wednesdays on Fox.
All right, tonight's main weather is brought to you by Big Pine Painting, the #1 family-owned and operated painting company serving Bangor and Belfast and surrounding areas. For all your paint, drywall, and pressure washing needs, call today for your free estimate. All right, we do have a low pressure system circulating over our area. Looks like that back end is bringing some showers and embedded thunderstorms over the state of Maine right now and into Bangor as well. But our future rainfall chances for tonight are pretty low because most of those scattered showers will stay just north of Bangor. But as we get into tomorrow afternoon, we will see our chances for rain do come up just quite a bit. We still have scattered showers in the area, so it could be a hit or miss tomorrow. And as we go into tomorrow night into Wednesday morning, they are going to stay low, but they will ramp up again going into Wednesday afternoon as more scattered showers are on the way. So take a look at today's highs for temperatures. Bangor around 72 degrees, pretty warm, and most of the coastline was around those low 70s. And then up north, we could see some cooler temperatures in the low to mid 60s. For tonight, looks like Bangor is going to be right around 54 degrees, a little bit warmer down south in Deer Isle at 57, but much of the area is going to be around the mid 50s temperature-wise, and it's going to be like that throughout the next few nights. But it will start to warm up. As you can see in the temperature trend, we will see 80s on Thursday and Friday. Going to start to feel a lot like summer, and then we'll have a slight cool down again by Saturday and Sunday, getting back into those low to mid 70s. But with that, we are going to have some more humidity on the way as well with those warmer temperatures. Looks like Friday is going to be the day where it gets a little muggy. So if you're out and about Friday, make sure you have a water on hand and stay hydrated as the heat can get to you with the humidity as well. So for the future forecast, we can see we have some scattered showers lingering through central Maine throughout the rest of the week. Nothing too severe at all. There may be an embedded thunderstorm in there, but looks like most areas will just see locally heavy rainfall amounts and others may be seeing sunshine. So nothing too much to worry about. Future rainfall amounts do show that most of the rain is going to be staying on that northwest side of the state. And it looks like Bangor is going to be just below a quarter inch of rain. And the more east you go, the less rain you get. So looks like rainfall is going to be more heavily on the northwestern side of the state throughout this week. So wind speeds right now, we have a southwest wind around 9 miles per hour around Bangor. It looks like most of the regions in that 5 to 10 mile per hour range. So winds are nothing too much to worry about right now. And as we go into tonight, low of 53 degrees. We'll have those showers early on. If they do hit, most of them will stay north. And going into tomorrow, expect more scattered showers and an isolated thunderstorm or two in the area. High of 77 degrees with winds from the west at 5 miles per hour. Going into your extended forecast for this week, it's going to be rainy and it's going to be stormy, but the temperatures are rising. We'll see low 80s Thursday and Friday, and then we'll cool back down into the low 70s on Saturday.
Talk about a mixed bag.
Yeah, not catching much of a break when it comes to those thunderstorms.
Not really. All right. Well, sports is coming up next. Keep it right here.
Protect your vehicle from rusting away with Bell's Automotive Protection. We are the leader in mobile undercoating and rust proofing in Maine. We'll travel right to your driveway using the best and safest products on the market. This is much safer than rubberized coatings that can cause damage later on. We spray all types of vehicles, including commercial fleets. We all know vehicles aren't cheap anymore. Don't let the harsh winter chemicals eat them away. Call us or visit our page for a free quote. 207-659-3805.
Depression is a journey. I'd made some progress on my antidepressant, had some daily wins in reducing my symptoms, but I was still masking my depression. So I talked to my doctor. She told me I could build on my wins without changing my antidepressant.
Rexulti, when added to an antidepressant, significantly reduced depression symptoms more than an antidepressant alone.
And less depression, that's a win.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings, or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions. Report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells. Unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Keep moving forward. Ask your doctor about Rexulti.
Who has the best kept secret in Penobscot County?
We do!
Welcome to Maple Lane Farms, a fifth-generation family farm that's committed to providing you with the best quality products. Our farm-raised local and sustainable meat is flash frozen to lock in the freshness and natural flavors. Experience the top-notch quality of our meat that's naturally raised without any antibiotics or hormones. Get the best of both worlds, quality and affordability. Try Maple Lane Farms today, the candy store for the carnivore.
What I'm doing, getting right to it. Money is talking, I'm flowing, it's coming in just how I do.
Major League Baseball, all season long on Fox.
The Boston Celtics are just 2 wins away from planning a parade through Boston. Welcome back in, everyone. Thanks for staying with us. The Celtics taking care of business at the Garden, and now they head to Dallas, up 2-0. Only 5 teams who have led 2-0 have lost in NBA Finals in history. So the Celtics sitting pretty nice. It was a much closer victory on Sunday than it was in Game 1, but the Celtics still getting past the Mavericks despite a triple-double from Luka Doncic. And a big reason was the play of Drew Holiday on both ends of the floor. And after the game, head coach Joe Mazzulla praising Holiday, but saying he gets his as a byproduct from everyone else doing their jobs.
Every guy on our team can't be at their best if this guy doesn't do that. So Jason's facilitating, Jalen's decision-making, that leads to Drew's playmaking. And the way that they're defending us, we have to make multiple plays. We have to have multiple drives. And I think Drew did a great job. Guys did a great job finding him. He did a great job attacking closeouts and then either kicking it back out for a second drive or getting, an open shot. And then what he can do defensively, it just goes back to everybody on the team works to impact the game differently.
All right, looking forward to Game 3. Let's go to the baseball diamond now. Over in Baileyville, the Woodland High School Dragons are sending both baseball and softball to the Class D North Championships on Tuesday. For baseball, they got past top seed Katahdin in the D North semis to punch their ticket. After falling in 9 innings in the semis last year, super close game, they were all real hungry to get to the regional finals, get over the hump. Despite losing 6 seniors, the team has seen contributions across the board, including Mr. Maine Baseball semifinalist Evan Curtis. And now the Dragons have won 11 games in a row. Over their last 9 of the regular season, they scored 120 runs. So they play their game. They are confident they can pull out the W on Tuesday night.
We graduated 6 starters from last year, so really wasn't 100% sure how this year would turn out, but the kids have they've been working hard every single day and putting the work in and just peaking at the right time. So things have been going well.
If we do what we know we can do, hit the ball, throw strikes, make plays, we got it. Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially in that last game. That was a crazy environment. And we didn't let it get to us, and we made it louder ourselves. So when we hit the ball, things can get out of control in a good way.
On the ball, that's it. Our infield, our pitching, it's all good enough. If we hit the ball, we'll be good. Pretty good. We got a lot of support behind us, and I think with all that support, we'll do good.
All right, let's go to some tennis now. Regional Finals Day Saturday and Monday for high school tennis, all wrapping up on Monday. Let's do the remaining Class C match. Fort Kent and Piscataquis for the C North girls final at Armstrong Tennis Center over in Hamden. Second doubles is where we'll start. Carrigan Wilson and Bella Bain for PCHS. They sky one in and drop it there for a point. But the Warriors, they would take this set. That's Logan Stett and Shelby Terrio getting the win. and that is going to be a spike down there for the point. In third singles, it's Chloe Kimball battling Hannah Lovely. Kimball going back and forth with Lovely here, but she'd put a powerful forehand. She would get this point, a nice strike right there, gets it past her, but Lovely would battle. Here she is spinning one on the return. That just kind of dies in front. She would go on to win that third singles match. Julia Sear also won second singles for the Warriors. So to first singles we go. It was a battle, but Anna Albert would take down Ariana Crosby, and the Warriors would sweep the regional final 5-0. They advanced to Wednesday's states. So tennis regionals are all wrapped up, and as of Monday, our baseball and softball regional matchups have been set as well. Northern Maine regional final day is Tuesday. Here's that schedule. It is a busy day all day, starting with baseball. Bangor returns to their fourth straight title game. They will take on Messalonskee at 5 p.m. at Morton Field in Augusta. Ellsworth is back in their fourth straight B-North title game after a Monday win. The Caribou Vikings will join them. That's 3:30 at Mansfield. In Class C, looking for their third straight state championship appearance is Bucksport. They take on Washington Academy at 7 at UMaine. And under the lights at Mansfield, like we mentioned, the Woodland Dragons taking on the Stearns Minutemen for the Class D finals. In softball we go after taking down Edward Little 4-3 on Monday. Skowhegan will look to get back to the state finals against Oxford Hills at 6:30 at CMCC. In Class B, Nokomis, they grabbed a win on Monday. They look to win their second straight Northern Maine title with the Old Town Coyotes, who also won on Monday, standing in the way. That's at 7 p.m. in Brewer at Coffin Field. Bucksport vying for another trip to the state title game, as they did the last two seasons. They play Mattanockhook at 4:30 at Keswick Field at UMaine. And in Class D, for the first time ever, both Woodland teams play in the Northern Maine finals. The Dragons are going up against the top seed, Penobscot Valley Howlers, 3:30 p.m. at Brewer. Wishing everybody luck in those big games. That is all the time we have for sports, though. We'll be right back after the break.
You've always known what you wanted, no matter how far down the road it looked. We're here to help you get there. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
Higher shipping rates may be the cost of doing business, but at what cost?
Turn shipping to your advantage with low-cost ground shipping from the United States Postal Service.
Spring is here, and so are the savings at the Furniture Gallery. Relax with a reclining sofa and recliner for only $9.98. Opening up camp, queen mattresses starting at $188, and sleeper sofas starting at $598. Power lift recliners also starting at $598, or save $100 on medical grade lift recliners. All Flex Steel now 10% off, and all Von Bassett bedroom sets 20% off. It's easy to buy at the Furniture Gallery with 18-month 0% interest financing. The Furniture Gallery.
Dine on the deck with a delicious view at the Lucerne Inn and Ryan's Pub. Experience outdoor dining at its finest. Open Tuesday through Sunday with award-winning dishes from their executive chef, Arturo Montes. Dining on the deck at Ryan's Pub is an unforgettable culinary experience you'll want to share with your family and friends. We are pet-friendly, so your furry friends are always welcome to join you at your table. Your next visit to the Lucerne Inn will feel like the first, all over again.
This is Rickwood, America's oldest ballpark and home to the Negro Leagues. Now, the Giants take on the Cardinals in a celebration over a century in the making. MLB at Rickwood Field, only on Fox.
You've lived quite a life. Now, it's time to live it up. We're here to help you enjoy all you've earned. Brewer Federal Credit Union. BrewerFCU.org.
Put a little more cash in your bag. Save money with half-off deals at foxbangor.com.
Iconic monsters, golf champions, and a multi-talented violinist are among the new digital DVD and music releases available to add to your home library. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin runs down the list of what's new in home entertainment.
Iconic monsters top this week's list of what's new in home entertainment. Godzilla Kong, the new empire, features the massive creatures joining forces to fight an evil Kong-type villain.
Hello?
Sydney Sweeney produced and stars in the horror film Immaculate. She plays an American nun who moves to a remote Italian convent filled with sinister secrets.
You don't escape trauma by ignoring it.
Ava DuVernay's film adaptation Origin is based on Isabel Wilkerson's best-selling book Cast: The Origins of Our Discontents. The drama centers on Wilkerson, played by Anjanou Ellis Taylor, researching the book while navigating her own personal losses.
People need to see us as more than just caddies and cannon fodder.
The Long Game is based on the true story of 5 Mexican-American golfers who created their own team and won the 1957 Texas State Golf Championship.
What's all that stuff?
It's called stop-motion animation. A stop-motion animator creates a film with characters that take on a life of their own in the horror film Stop Motion. Movies available from the small screen available to own. The Paramount Plus special, South Park Joining the Panderverse, centers on the popular characters tackling the issues of AI. For music fans, violinist and dancer Lindsey Sterling releases her 7th album, Duality. Born Lonely is the debut album from multi-platinum hitmaker Matt Stell. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
A unit of the Maine National Guard is using their required annual training to help benefit veterans in the central Maine area. The 262nd Engineer Construction Company of the Maine Army National Guard is working to clear sections of the Maine Veterans Memorial Cemetery in Augusta to accommodate around 15,000 new final resting places for our nation's veterans in the next 15 years.
This area here is great because it opens up a lot of opportunities for multiple pieces of equipment. Naturally, in the Guard, we have a few training areas, but it's really great for our soldiers to be out in the real world in different terrain, facing different considerations and restrictions to the equipment.
The United States Marine Corps and soldiers from the Montenegro Army are working with the Maine National Guard. A first lieutenant from the Montenegro Armed Forces says the partnership between them and Maine goes back for decades. The Maine Cemetery Project is one of a number of projects conducted across the state as part of the Maine National Guard's annual training.
Well, the historic Holden Town Hall building, which sat vacant for years, is back open once again. The building, which was built in the 1870s, is located on the main road in Holden. It is owned and maintained by the Holden Historical Society. Years ago, town meetings and social gatherings were held inside the 2-story building. Carrie Zimmerman, who is the president of the Holden Historical Society, says all the lighting has been redone and the windows are original, except for one that was recently replaced. Zimmerman would like to see the building used more often.
We want it to be used for the community. I mean, there's plenty of room. You know, we could host a lot of things. And we try in the summer, but because of the lack of bathroom is the biggest deal.
The building is open every Friday during the Holden Farmers Market, which runs from 3 to 6 p.m. Members of the Historical Society are actively applying for grants and continue to raise funds to make improvements to the building.
No matter what, you love to see historical buildings like that preserved in some fashion. So glad to see them taking those first steps and even going further than that.
Yeah, here's hoping the fundraising can help them make a few improvements to make it a better event space.
Let's hope.
All right, that is all for us, folks. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
This summer,
I'm sweating.
the competition is heating up.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less.
Every weekday
on Fox 22.
What if you could whiten your teeth by simply brushing your teeth? Now you can with Smile Actives, the teeth whitening breakthrough that safely gets your teeth white and keeps them white every day just by brushing your teeth.
I never thought that whitening my teeth could be so easy. I just put the gel on the brush, the toothpaste on it, brush, and I can see my white teeth.
Simply add Smile Actives to any toothpaste, and our patented PolyClean technology activates into a powerful microfoam that penetrates into the enamel surface to safely lift and remove stains.
You need a simple way to whiten your teeth. Without strips, without trays, without going to the dentist. And it was about time that a product was developed that you would be able to do that with just brushing.
And now, Smile Actives is even better with new Pro Whitening Gel with 33% greater whitening power, clinically shown to whiten teeth faster, up to 8 shades. 100% of users saw whiter teeth. On food stains, coffee and wine stains, even on veneers, crowns, and dentures.
I eat the blueberries, I drink the coffee, and I know that Smile Actives will keep my teeth white every day.
If you could use something so easy like Smile Actives to take yellow teeth to white teeth, why wouldn't you?
Why spend hundreds of dollars for whitening treatments at the dentist when now you can whiten your teeth with new Smile Actives Pro Whitening Gel every time you brush your teeth? Call or go to smileactives.com and for a limited time get new Pro Whitening Gel for just $24.95. Order in the next 5 minutes and buy one, get one absolutely free for just $24.95. That's 2 for 1 and save 58%. We'll even include free shipping. Get your teeth whiter guaranteed or return it within 60 days for your money back.
I smile every day now.
The difference is literally night and day.
So now I'm always smiling, always choosing, because now my teeth are much whiter.
This offer is not available in stores, so call or click now before the special buy one, get one free offer goes away.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.